Well, let me welcome you to the 7th Annual State of the Coast Symposium. My name is Jamie Miller, and I'm the President and CEO of the Gulf Coast Business Council. The Gulf Coast Business Council engages in identifying, researching, and advocating for the shared interest of our economic stakeholders. We facilitate cooperation between private enterprise, professional associations, and public sector entities, report on a wide range of economic issues, and aggressively promote initiatives that attract new opportunities, industry, and resources to coastal Mississippi. The work of the Council differs yet complements the functional mission of other business organizations as local chambers of commerce. Our tri-county scope and focus on issues that affect the region positions the Gulf Coast Business Council as the recognized authority on matters of public policy with a focus on economic and community development. Today's symposium brings together the lead decision makers of business and industry, as well as community leaders and elected officials, for the purpose of understanding more about the challenges and successes of our region and to gain insight into the most disruptive technology of our generation, artificial intelligence. But before we get started, I want to recognize the people who make this event possible, our sponsors. Our title sponsor, Mississippi Power. Anthony Wilson, who served as president of the power company, has been a long supporter and was an executive committee member. We want to thank Anthony. He's not here today, but we do want to thank the new leadership here, and we'll hear from our new president, Pedro Cherry, in a moment. But thank you, Giff Orms, Matt Grice, Meg Payment, and others from the team. You're celebrating 100 years of service here on the Gulf Coast, and we're glad to celebrate with you this morning. Also, thank you to Ingalls Shipbuilding. Thank you, Brian Blanchette, Kimberly Nastasi, Lisa Bradley, and Jack Norris, and the nearly 12,000 men and women at the shipyard that make our nation safer and our communities better. And our flagship sponsor, Hancock Whitney Bank. Another one of our executive committee members, John Hairston. Thank you to the team at Hancock Whitney and for your support of this morning's symposium. We also have our navigator sponsors, the Beau Rivage Resort Casino. General Manager Brandon Dardo, thank you for your support in hosting us this morning. The staff's been incredible. You have a wonderful venue for us to host this event. Coastal Mississippi, thank you Judy Young, Patty Maher, Duncan Ing, thank you for the incredible work you're doing in our tourism area. ESC Federal, Jeff Snyder, thank you. Mississippi Gulf Coast Community College, Dr. Mary Graham, thank you and your team for your support, as always. Mississippi State University, Dr. David Shaw, Dr. Paul Mickle, thank you for your support this morning. Ocean Aero, Kevin Decker, Keith Blystone, Liz Marthouse, thank you for being here this morning. And Renaissance Bank, who recently the first merged with the Renaissance. So this is welcome to the market. Thank you, Eric Crevette, for your support. Thank you for being here this morning. Scarlet Pearl Casino, Luann Pappas and your team, thank you for being here this morning and supporting us. University of Southern Mississippi, Dr. Joe Paul, Dr. Kelly Lucas, Pam Moeller, Dr. Jeff Hinton, thank y'all. And Warren Paving, Stephen Warren, Mike Latorte, thank you for your continued support through all these years and this morning. Yates Construction, William Yates, thank you for having your team here today. Thank you for calling me 3 years ago and asking me if I was interested in this job. The answer is still yes. Our Lighthouse sponsors, thank you to Andercor, Roy Anderson IV, Citizens Bank, Greg Cronin, thank you for being here. Thank you for moving your board meeting to be here this morning. We hope we don't disappoint you. Hancock Port and Harbor Commission, Blaine LaFontaine, his team, Jeff Clemens, Brooke Glass, Taylor Ladner. Harris Gulf Coast, Jonathan Jones, who serves as our chairman of the Gulf Coast Business Council. Thank you for being here with your team. Lemon Moeller Insurance, Joel Verdun. Singing River Health Systems, Lauren St. Pay, Georgia Story. Thank you for your continued support, Lauren. To the Rescue Bookkeeping, Hope Blankenship and your team, Amber and Megan, that help keep our books so clean, and we appreciate all the time you spend with us. William Carey University, Dr. Ben Burnett, Dr. Cassandra Connor, who recently announced her retirement, and Jennifer Farridge, thank y'all for being here. And I don't want to forget our table sponsors, AVL, CPAs, Kim Marmelich, Bosch and Bingham, of course, Ben Stone, Ricky Cox, Leo Manuel, thank you for all your support. Bienville Orthopedic, Lee Bond, I saw you earlier, thank you. Coast Electric Power Association, Ron Barnes, Chevron Corporation, Tim Potter and Alan Sutter, thank you for your support. Community Bank, Eric Chambliss, Leslie Kelly, thank you. Dale Partners, Julie Berry, thank you for reaching out to us and being available to sponsor this morning. The Department of Marine Resources table, thank you, Joe Spraggins, Director Spraggins and your team, thank you all for being here. The Gulfport International Airport, Clay Williams, Casey Lyons, Shally Munn, thank you. Memorial Health System, Kent Nico, Angie Jazang, thank you all for your support. Mississippi Development Authority, I know Bill Cork's not here this morning, but thank you, Sarah Watson, Sarah Wright, I think John Tingle. I don't know if P.J. Waldrop is here, but thank you all for your support. And the People's Bank, Shevis Sweatman. Shevis always gives me the most honest advice about how I'm doing and how I could do, and I appreciate it, and I pick up the phone every time he does. Thank you for continuing to help me be a better person, better professional. Ochsner Health System, Jeff Edge. Pearl River Community College, President Adam Breerwood and Angie Kaufman. I do want to mention that Pearl River Community College's baseball team has advanced to the World Series and will be playing this weekend, Sunday, in Enid, Oklahoma, so congratulations. I know President Breerwood thinks he has something to do with that, but I'm sure he has very little to do with it. I'm joking. Port of Gulfport, John Nass, I know they have a board meeting this morning. Melissa Scallon, thank you, I saw you earlier. Port Pascagoula, Bo Etheridge. Sparklight, Charlie Oaks, thank you. Specialty Contractors and Associates. I'm going to thank Patrick Dennis this morning for running that company. Thank you, Patrick, for all you're doing for specialty contractors. And, of course, your father, Dave, who supported us for so many years. And Wise Carter, I saw Jim Simpson and Fred Hoff, Tom Carpenter, thank you. Thank you all. Please give yourselves a hand. We couldn't be here this morning without you. It's now my pleasure to welcome to the stage the president of Mississippi Power, Pedro Cherry. Pedro Cherry was named president of Mississippi Power in March 2025 with leadership oversight of all aspects in providing clean, safe, reliable, and affordable energy to more than 192,000 customers in southeast Mississippi. Cherry has worked in the energy industry for 30 years and has been part of the Southern Company system for nearly 25 years. Including executive roles in electric and gas subsidiaries. From August 2020 until March 2025, Cherry served as president and CEO of Atlanta Gas Light and Chattanooga Gas, natural gas utilities that serve approximately 1.8 million customers across 2 states. He previously worked at Georgia Power in various leadership positions, including Executive Vice President of Customer Service and Operations, where he led a team of 5,000 plus employees that served 2.6 million customers. He has been an active community leader, volunteering his time on numerous boards in the Atlanta area, including chairman of the Georgia Chamber in 2024. He has been recognized on list of 100 most influential Georgians by Georgia Trend magazine and most admired CEOs by the Atlanta Business Chronicle. Cherry earned a bachelor's degree in industrial engineering and an MBA in operations management and finance from Auburn University. Please help me welcome to the stage Pedro Cherry.
When I was little, I thought my dad was a superhero. I knew I could always count on him to keep the lights on when it mattered most.
We're here. Let's go see all of our friends, okay?
The people at Mississippi Power are like family. We serve our communities, the places we call home. And this little ray of light, my daughter, I hope I can make her proud too.
Hey, Dad. I was just thinking about you.
Thank you for letting us be a part of your family for 100 years.
Cool. Good morning. Jamie, thank you for that warm welcome. As you saw in the video highlighting our Mississippi Power employees, it's an exciting time at Mississippi Power. Now, we've been your trusted energy partner for 100 years, and we're committed to building upon that legacy and being a catalyst to ensure our state continues to grow and prosper. And I'm excited to be here and look forward to meeting many of you for the first time. My wife, Tamika, and I are settling in great here in the area with our 2 college-age kids, and we are learning our way around the coast. I'm originally from a small rural town in northeastern North Carolina, not too far from the Outer Banks. And it feels a great deal like home. Just the seafood is a lot better. You know, back in the day, I played a little football at Auburn University. Enough, okay, a couple of Warriors out here. Enough to remember that Brett Favre and the Southern Miss Golden Eagles came up and beat us. But that's okay too. But that inspired me to study harder and build a career that's taken me around the world and now to South Mississippi. And I'm thrilled to be in this community. Anthony has told me incredible things about this organization and the impact you're making across the Gulf Coast. And I'm honored to join the effort to help Mississippi and this region reach its maximum potential. Okay. This is my 52nd day as president of Mississippi Power. Even in that short period, I've already felt the resiliency, hospitality, and sense of community that make the coast so special. There's tremendous momentum across the state. Now, we're in the midst of a technological revolution. Hyperscale data centers are investing nearly $20 billion in the Jackson and Meridian areas. Here on the coast, the new Mississippi Cyber and Technology Center at Keesler Air Force Base will become a hub of cutting-edge cybersecurity training, thanks to a powerful public-private partnership. Now, let me tell you a little about the evolution of Mississippi Power. Our company began operations on January 1st, 1925, when it acquired the Gulfport and Mississippi Coast Traction Company. We started out serving about 5,500 customers with a small generating plant and an electric railway that ran from Biloxi to Pass Christian. A point of interest, that generating plant was located on the site where our headquarters stands today in downtown Gulfport. And we quickly expanded up the east coast of east side of Mississippi up to the Tennessee line, helping to electrify the state, before federal intervention and TVA left us with the 23 counties that we are proud to serve today. Now, we operate 5 generating plants and maintain 6,000 miles of distribution lines and 2,000 miles of transmission lines to serve more than 192,000 customers with reliable and affordable energy. And most importantly, we do it with an industry-leading safety record. When you flip a switch, you can count on us for the lights to come on. When storms hit, and we are ready for this hurricane season, we have a proven track record of restoring service safely, efficiently, and as quickly as possible. We are connected to you by more than just wires. We are committed to making the communities we serve better because we are there. You'll see our employees wearing those familiar red t-shirts in our communities, performing service projects, supporting nonprofit organizations, mentoring youth, serving on boards, and much, much more. That's why we call our employee volunteer groups Community Connection. Although our employees are always prepared to respond 24/7, they found the time to volunteer 4,500 hours in community service in 2024. These groups make a difference every day in the areas where we live, work, and play. That legacy of service is a cornerstone of how we're planning for the future. In addition, our Mississippi Power Foundation is committed to making strategic investments in transformational projects across the state, and particularly right here at home. In my short time here, I've been focused on visiting and meeting our teammates across our entire service territory. I've heard their questions, concerns, and eagerly listened to their ideas and suggestions. What I've heard and seen confirms what I already knew. Anthony Wilson has built an engaged, world-class team with a winning culture. Anthony's legacy will resonate across this state for generations. He's been a mentor and a friend since our time together at Georgia Power. Taking on this role during our centennial year is a true honor. After 25 years in the Southern Company system, I know Mississippi Power's excellence is no accident. It's a culture built over a century, and it's rooted right here in this community. Did you know that Mississippi Power launched the very first economic development department in the state shortly after its founding in 1925? From those early days in downtown Gulfport, we've steadfastly focused on being a great partner and attracting new industries, expanding existing industries, and powering Mississippi's growth. All of that has laid the groundwork for who we are today. Just as we help power Mississippi's past, we're poised to help shape its future. Today, we face another turning point. The energy sector is entering a new era, driven by artificial intelligence, rapid innovation, and high demand. The next 5 to 10 years will be transformational. We're planning and taking actions right now for that future. From our generation plants to our grid, we're investing in capacity, reliability, and resilience to meet rising demand and support business growth. We've hardened our electrical grids by elevating critical power systems that are in flood-prone areas. And we're replacing 6,000 wood structures with more resilient concrete or steel structures over the next 15 years. We are committed to deploying new technologies such as microgrids, advanced conductors, drones, and smart devices to keep your lights on, minimize the frequency and duration of outages, and restore power quickly when the need arises. In short, we're using the industry's latest and greatest technology to serve you better today, with 96% of our customers on a self-healing network. And we will continue to invest in our grid and be prepared for tomorrow. This is a defining moment for our company, communities, and state. You know, it's been an exciting time to be at Mississippi Power, and I'm so grateful to be a member of this talented and dedicated team. We look forward to partnering with the Gulf Coast Business Council and each of you to help Mississippi thrive. One of my favorite proverbs says, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. I'm excited for the journey ahead, and I can't wait to see how far we go together. Thank you.
Thank you, Pedro. In November of 2024, the Mississippi Gulf Coast Community College received a $7.1 million grant to expand the Mississippi Artificial Intelligence Network, or MAIN. The nation's first statewide AI initiative, MAIN is a collaborative effort among all Mississippi's 15 community colleges, multiple universities, and public and private organizations, uniting under a common goal of transforming Mississippi's economy and workforce through artificial intelligence. President Graham at the time had this to say: "This is a pivotal step forward in Mississippi's future. MGCC and our partners across the state will empower a new generation with cutting-edge skills, prepare our industries for unprecedented growth, and position Mississippi as a leader in the national AI landscape." Just this year in January, Governor Reeves issued an Executive Order 1584 to foster stakeholder collaboration and harness artificial intelligence in Mississippi. Senator Bart Williams, chairman of the Mississippi Senate Technology Committee, said this: "This executive order positions Mississippi as the leader in AI innovation. By embracing AI, we can attract business, enhance state services, and prepare our workforce for future opportunities. AI is a tool for today's challenges, and Mississippi is ready to lead in this technological era, benefiting our communities and economy." Mississippi is making strides in understanding and utilizing artificial intelligence, but there are still too many who have not harnessed the power and its efficiency. That's why we've invited today's guest speaker, Kevin Popović is an internationally recognized expert in innovation, communications, and creative problem solving. Known professionally as the Idea Guy, Kevin helps business leaders harness creativity and technology, especially artificial intelligence, to drive growth, increase productivity, and build future-ready organizations. As founder and chief strategy officer of the Idea Guy, Kevin has worked with Fortune 500 companies, government agencies, universities, and fast-growth startups to transform how they identify problems and generate meaningful solutions. He's the creator of the Innovation Funnel and the Creative Confidence Index, two powerful frameworks used by CEOs, educators, and the executives to activate strategy, align teams, and accelerate results. Kevin's work sits at the intersection of human insight and machine intelligence. He teaches leaders how to think creatively, ask better questions, and apply generative AI in ways that empower, not replicate, their people. A lifelong entrepreneur and award-winning communicator, Kevin was named the San Diego Business Journal CEO of the Year finalist for his work for helping organizations turn big ideas into measurable results. Please buckle up. If you've not had your coffee, it's okay. And help me welcome to the stage, Kevin Popović.
Good morning, everybody. I guess this thing's on. All right. Thank you for the introduction, Jamie. Hey, my slides work. Welcome to Amplify. How leaders leverage human intelligence and AI to work smarter, compete better, and stay future ready. That's our topic today. My name is Kevin Popović, and I'm the Idea Guy. You might wonder, how do you get to be the Idea Guy? My mother said that my father enabled me. Perhaps that was a way, but my mother always added to my creativity and challenged me to do more with less. So at a young age, I created Idea House, which was a creative communications agency. I was an adjunct professor at Duquesne University, an instructor in the School of Business at San Diego State University, teaching creativity and innovation. I was a board member and mentor at Lab and Entrepreneurship Center, the founder of the Idea Lab, the Zahn Innovation Platform, the Zahn Chair of Creativity and Innovation at San Diego State, an instructor in the Department of Cognitive Science at UC San Diego, and the academic program officer at the Design Lab, also at UC San Diego. My TEDx was How Creativity Can Change the World One Bad Drawing at a Time. And my current focus is empowering creativity at work flow to enhance human intelligence and amplify it with artificial intelligence. So once you get to do all that, then you get to be the Idea Guy, right? And I share that for context. I know that there's a lot of people that talk about artificial intelligence in a number of different ways. My job, as I understand it, is to take something that's very complex and make it understandable so we can move forward together. And that's how I'll frame my presentation today. So thank you to Pedro and Jamie for the quick the remarks and moving to listen to. Welcome to all the business leaders that are here from the Gulf Coast. I think that the fact that you showed up for such an event speaks to your curiosity to learn more. I hope that the presentation that I provide you today will empower you to move forward. So today, my charge is to entertain, inform, and challenge you on the topics of artificial intelligence, and I hope to do that. And I also want to make it something where you feel that if you want to ask a question, I want you to raise your hand and ask a question, because I think a lot of times I come to events and you put somebody up here and they're talking about a thing and you have a question. You know, and I think one of the things that I found as a speaker is that my job really more is to facilitate a conversation about something that we all want to have. So I'm going to welcome you. If you really have a question that you think contributes, I'm going to ask you to raise your hand, and there'll be a couple other interactive things throughout the day. It is the morning. I know you just had your breakfast. You got one coffee. I'm sure there's a lot more. But let's get it warmed up because we've got some things to do today. Are you ready? All right. So the first thing that I like to get started when I talk about anything is I want to define it. You know, because I think there's a lot of things that we hear or we talk about, And we'd like kind of know what it is, but we kind of don't know what it is, right? I think artificial intelligence is one of those things that we kind of know what it is, right? I know there's a lot of myths about what people think it's going to be. We'll talk about types and when you should start worrying about robots taking over the world, which is a long time away. But I can tell you when you should start worrying, and we'll get to that today. So artificial intelligence, right, I've highlighted a little bit for us to follow along, is the ability of machines to mimic human intelligence. That's it. It's artificial, it's fake, it's not real. It mimics human intelligence to perform tasks like learning, reasoning, problem solving, decision making, but better, faster, and at scale. Does this make sense? Man, it doesn't have to be any harder than this, right? To even simplify it a bit more, AI is software that learns from data to do things humans usually do with less time, more consistency, and better results. It's not that hard. It's a really great application. You know, we've been learning about applications since we all got personal computers. Microsoft Word's an application, PowerPoint's an application, Excel's an application, ChatGPT's an application, Claude's an application. They're applications, they do things. They're designed to do something. And that's all that it is. Now, there's some different types of AI. And the first type that we're going to talk to is referred to narrow AI. It's also referred to as weak AI. And it's designed for a specific task. It does one thing really, really, really well, right? It can't do anything outside of its programming. It can't like change its mind and decide it wants to do more. It does what it was programmed to do because it's an application. Okay? And it's only good at one thing. How many people see a screen like this almost every night, right? This is, yeah, me too. So this is an example of narrow AI. It does one thing really, 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 really well. Try to get you to watch something else, right? And how it does that? It's an application that learns from data. It looks at your browsing history, what you watch, what you thought about watching, what you watched all the way. And it makes additional recommendations on what you should watch next, right? And if you binge watch, it probably is doing a really good job, right? Here's some other examples. And the reason I'm going to show so many is narrow AI is embedded in a lot of different things. And I want us to talk about the different things that it's embedded in, because I think people know about AI. I think people are like, ooh, got to get some AI. But you don't know how, right? And you don't know where to start. And it really starts with one thing, doing one thing really, really well. So go through these one things, right? Google search, the auto predicts. You start typing and it kicks out what it thinks you want, or at least gives you a short list, right? It's predictive analytics, right? Netflix in the recommendation, Google Maps, right? Wherever you are, it tells you how to get to where you want, provides additional data, updates as you go, right? Autopilot in Tesla, all right? Assist with driving, email spam filters, ChatGPT. How many people use ChatGPT currently? Yep. And all the amazing things. Amazon product recommendations. Because you bought this, you should buy this other stuff, right? Chatbots for customer service, AI in radiology, fraud detection systems. That says, hey, we think there's something going on in your account. That's not your nice teller. That's an application that's looking at the data that says, something doesn't look right. So these are all examples of narrow AI that are already embedded in our lives. And as you look at the different types of things that it does, it should start giving you some ideas about how you might start to utilize AI in your businesses, right? How many of you have functionality or processes that mimic this? Maybe that's a good place for you to start if you have not done so already. So, had a little fun taking a look at who's doing what in the marketplace. So I use ChatGPT to scour the internet for instances of companies talking about their artificial intelligence within their business process or something. So I did a top 10 list. Who doesn't like a top 10 list, right? So, starting at number 10, voice and chat AI for customer service. Coast Electric Power Association is using conversational AI tools such as chatbots, IVR systems to handle FAQs and service requests. Right? We see this quite a lot, and it's a smart use of the technology. We gave a little score, it comes in at a 2.5 out of 5, and the impact of this is increased customer satisfaction, reduced call centers, the types of things we expect with improved customer service. All right? That's number 10. Number 9, Mississippi Gulf Coast Community College for their AI and workforce development and HR tools, AI tools matching candidate jobs, roles, assessing skill gaps, etc. Right? The impact, faster hiring, improved retention, and better alignment between education programs, local job markets. And we always want to look at the impact because like AI is cool, but to what end, right? There's always a business use for AI, but there should always be that return on innovation as well. You know, cool's great, profitable, cost savings, greater efficiency, that's even greater. And so we always want to be looking at the impact of the technology. Thank you. Number 8, AI for fraud detection in banking and insurance, Hancock Whitney Bank, real-time machine learning models detect anomalies in financial transactions, and that helps lower fraud rates, enhance customer security, and comply with regulations as well. Number 7, smart energy grid management by Mississippi Power, predictive analytics and AI models manage power loads. It improves grid reliability, minimized energy waste, and better long-term planning. Number 6, AI-assisted forestry management from Mississippi Forestry Commission. The impact, increased resource sustainability, reduce environmental risk, and improve yield planning, all through analyzing satellite and drone imagery to monitor forest health. Number 5, retail tourism personalization engines from Beau Rivage Resort Casino, our host, thank you very much. AI personalized guest promotions leads to higher guest satisfaction. Number 4, AI for medical diagnostics and workflow. Singing River Health System uses NLP and image recognition tools to assist in triage, which is faster and more accurate diagnoses. Number 3, computer vision for quality controls and manufacturing. Shemwar's company, AI-powered visual inspection system on detect defects, reducing scrap rates, enhance productivity, and lower manual inspection costs. Number 2, predictive maintenance in aerospace and defense through Stennis Space Center. AI-driven systems forecast aerospace component failures. The impact is extended equipment life, increased operational uptime, and improved safety. And the number 1 example, shipbuilding and maritime logistics, autonomous ship design, and real-time Gulf logistics. Ingalls Shipbuilding, AI simulates global trade scenarios, optimizes shipping routes, predicts port congestions using satellite and oceanic data, which means faster ship design and delivery, near zero cargo loss, and reduced insurance premiums. So what this goes to show you is that this is not something that's in the future. We're using this today. We're using this today, right? Here's a quick example for those of you who want to know how I got up with this list. I fed ChatGPT this prompt. For those of you who aren't aware, a prompt is what you type in to ChatGPT to get it to do something for you, much like you have a Google chat. You would say, hey, Google, find this out for me. Well, this is the prompt I used for this. So it was ChatGPT that took our top 10 list on, again, based on the publicly available information. But this is demonstrative of how we're using AI. I had a question, right? I'm like, hey, I wonder who's doing what already, right? Now, I could go through Google and spend time and time and time looking things and scoring things and whatnot. Or I can come to ChatGPT with my question and ask it to do something, right? I can ask it to act as a business technology researcher and analyst, because I always tell it the role that I want to play, because it can be anything that we want it to do. And I'm going to tell it what I want it to do. Review publicly available data and media about companies affiliated with the Mississippi Gulf Coast Business Council. Identify variable instances where these businesses have implemented artificial intelligence in their operations. For each instance, provide the following. And imagine doing this manually, how long it would take. Company name and industry description, type of use, innovation level, and documented or credible sources. Then synthesize the information into a ranked list of top 10 most innovative uses across the GCB's member companies prioritize applications that show transformative potential, measurable business outcomes, or strategic value. Present your findings in a structured format for use in an executive briefing. This took me about a minute to get this. Right? Imagine trying to do it manually in your workflow. All right. It allows us to stay in leadership roles. Right? How many times have you been in a scenario where, like, wonder what the top 10 this is? I wonder how we compare to this. I wonder. And then there's barriers to that information. So that wonder left is unfounded. It never goes anywhere, that great idea. This allows you to get that curiosity satisfied and move forward in some kind of fashion that gets you closer to your goals. Faster, better, cheaper. Right? That's why this is so exciting. So I'll have a couple other examples of some prompts, how we got the content for today's presentation, because the entire presentation was generated with generative AI. The entire thing. I got a letter from Jamie that says, hey, we want to talk about this. I processed the letter in ChatGPT, turned it into an outline, got the outline approved, turned that outline into a deck, and then all of the content that you're seeing in here, minus a couple pieces, have all been generated with different artificial intelligence tools, and I will call them out along the way. So let's go to the second type of artificial intelligence, and that's called general AI. Now, general AI is AI with human-like cognitive abilities, right? Can learn anything, adapt in real time, do anything a human can do. Except click this thing. There you go. Remember this? Who remembers this movie, right? So this is general AI, right? For those of you too young to remember this movie, Google 2001 Space Odyssey. Yeah, see how that ends. So what could go wrong? So when we talk about general AI, a lot of our familiarity is via movies, much like other technology has come to us through science fiction. Right? Star Trek, Star Wars, etc. came from books. So HAL 9000, Space Odyssey, understands speech, plays chess, controls spacecraft systems, make decisions, even disobeys orders. Yeah, Jarvis in Iron Man. Manages a mansion, runs simulations, assists in combats. Tony Stark's AI co-pilot, right? While Tony is flying around in the suit, he's got the Jarvis in with him. Ava Ex Machina demonstrates self-awareness, natural language and motion, and manipulative intelligence. See where we're going? Data on Star Trek, fully sentient android with a motion chip, ethical reasoning, creative problem solving. There are episodes when he goes awry as well. And then Skynet, Terminator, right? Achieves self-awareness, takes control of global military systems, and sees humanity as a threat. What could go wrong? And I think this is where people start thinking about artificial intelligence and robots taking over the world. It's because we watched all these movies and people are like, it's cool, and then we'll terrorize you. And now everybody's all wigged out about technology going awry. Not that it can't. Right? But as we look towards the future, people want to know when is this going to happen, right? So I went to ChatGPT. I went to go see what it would tell me. I had some questions I wanted to know before the robots take over, right? How long do we have until this becomes a reality? What will have to happen before this can happen? What pivotal moments? And what is likely to happen when this does become a reality? So I went to ChatGPT. Again, for those of you who are not familiar, it's just like you went to Google and I'm going to go type something in because I want to see a result. So I go to ChatGPT and I say, act as a prompt engineer and draft a prompt that helps me ask these questions in a way that generates the most accurate response based on current science, technology, knowledge, and theories. Also include what else I should know that I do not know to ask. Okay. Now, I ask it to act as a prompt engineer. What that role is somebody who designs or writes out the thing that you put into ChatGPT. So I'm asking it to help me ask it better. And this is a great trick. It works really well. So what I got from it was this. And we won't go through all of it, but you'll see that there's greater specificity. And I liken a prompt, kind of making a wish on a genie's lamp. Remember when we were kids, they have like Aladdin, and you get the lamp, and you're like, ooh, you get 3 wishes, right? Like, ooh, I'm gonna wish them, I want to be famous. And then the genie makes you like a serial killer that killed more people than anybody else in the world. Now you're famous because you killed a bunch of people, right? The genie's always trying to get you, right? So, and I don't feel like the machine's trying to get me, but I treat it with that great specificity. Okay, I want to be famous, but I don't want to be a serial killer, and I don't want people, like you tell it what you want. So that's what these prompts to me does. It sets it up for success. You tell it the role that you want, you tell it what you want it to do. You set it up with like you had an assistant that's really, really trying hard to impress you. Okay, now make sure you do this and make sure you do this, and this is what it sets out to do. But it can do this in a matter of seconds, where that nice little assistant is going to take a minute or two. Okay, and this is the opportunity for us to be able to do much, much more. So, to the punchline, here's when the robots are taking over. Now, there's a 10% probability that by 2030, there might be a major breakthrough, right? Because you just never know. Alien technology, somebody trips on something, discovers something else, right? But that's only a 10% chance. Now, there's a 50% chance that the robots will start coming. I shouldn't say it like that. Between 2040 and 60, aligns with most experts. It's calling for current and scaling trends, because we're getting into stuff and we're like, ooh, we didn't know it was going to do that, right? And most of it's been good. There's only been a couple bad surprises so far, but it tends to not so many good surprises. But you just never know what you're going to learn until you get into it. And then there's a high percentage that by 2100, conservative hedge considering biological cognition complexity and regulatory constraints. So we're not going to see it. Your kids are going to see it. And I can't wait to see what it actually comes out to be, because there's a lot of potential, right? I like to believe that there's more good than bad. So let's talk about why this prompt works. Why I'm able to get to data like this is because I ask the right question and I reference the right data. I think that the art of this, maybe it's the challenge of it, right, to begin with, is understanding what to say and how to say it. Because the technology is amazing, but you have to know what it can do. And when you tell somebody it can do anything, people are like, okay, I don't know where to start. It's kind of like you ever go to a menu, like a restaurant, and they just got way too many things and you can't decide. I think it's a little bit like that. I think that if it was a smaller confine, perhaps it would be a little easier for people to adopt, but it really can do anything. And that's the amazing thing about it, is it amplifies your intelligence, your curiosity, your productivity, your contributions to your organizations exponentially. And that's the most exciting thing about this. Now, as we talk about these predictions, right, we got to go into super intelligent AI. And that's really a thing. I didn't make it up because it looks really, ooh, right? Super intelligent AI. Surpasses human intelligence across all domains, creativity, strategic thinking, emotional intelligence, everything. So when you start thinking of analogies on this, this is where you start to go. You guys remember the Matrix? That starts being like super intelligent stuff, right? Now this stuff is way far away. It's theoretical. Not even sure you could do it, and they're like, maybe it's this, maybe it's that, right? But there's some of the examples that help you better understand what is meant by super intelligent AI. Definitely the Matrix controls all human civilization within a simulated world, manipulates reality at will. We'll see that part about it. Vicky and I, Robot, outlaws human behavior for protection using superior logic. The architect in the Matrix designs and maintains a complex system of simulated reality with recursive logic. The Singularity, back to Skynet, gains autonomous control of global weapons, acts strategically against humanity, And then, of course, Ultron, Age of Ultron, rapidly surpasses human intelligence, concludes humans are the problem, and acts accordingly. What could go wrong? So these are the types of things that we are thinking about as we think about AI, but we have to understand where we are today, right? And that's the thing that I think is most important. These images that have been created by Hollywood that leverages some foundation of technology, it's great for selling movie tickets. I don't know if it's really the most accurate representation. But when we think about superintelligence, there are some things that defines this against other types, right? Outperforms human in all domains, self-improves recursively, control or reshapes environments, possesses strategic foresight, but it does raise existential risk in human obsolescence or irrelevance, loss of control and alignment, and ethical dilemmas around autonomy, surveillance, and enforced optimization. Sure, there's a couple people who are very knowledgeable on this. I like to see what people are thinking. Bostrom suggests that, warns that a single runaway superintelligence could reshape the future in ways that are either utopian or catastrophic. Yeah, we're at a casino, you got a 50-50 shot. Yudkowsky says, emphasizes the urgency of AI alignment and the dangers of unfriendly AI scenarios. Kurzweil envisions a positive merger between humans and machines, forecasting AGI around 2045. So some are good, some are bad, so don't know. Some thinks it's all going to work out. What do you think? Right. So here's our current status with the super intelligent robots that are going to take over the world someday. There is no system today that does this. You know, even if you were like a villain in a Bond movie and had like all the money, you can't make it. Like, it's not a thing. Right? There are no LLMs that can do this, that have that general awareness to get us there. However, their scaling performance and emerging behaviors could spark some debate on whether we are actually moving forward towards that or not. But it's it's a thing, right? But it's all hypothetical at this point. Right? But we have to understand where we are, and we have to understand the differences in the technology. You know, just think about how the tech that we had to learn when personal computers came around, right? You didn't know nothing about nothing, and all of a sudden you got to go learn all this new stuff. And imagine trying to do your job without a personal computer today, right? The internet, same thing, right? So let's do a quick survey, try to get your blood moving here a little bit, especially people in the back. All right, how many people are using artificial intelligence in a meaningful way? Not that you're playing with ChatGPT at work, you know, and turning your like cat into humans and stuff like that. And that makes an impactful, that makes impactful work. How many people are using artificial intelligence in a meaningful way at work that makes an impact, that changes or do something? Please raise your hand. Please look around, everybody. These are the people that are already using AI at work. Happy face. You made Grandpa so happy. He's so proud. I made this with DALL-E, D-A-L-L-E. It's at OpenAI Ator. I said, show me a Southern grandfather who's gleaming with pride. I'm so proud of all you companies that are already doing something with AI. Now, let's ask, come on, do the trick. Do the trick. Do that one. How many people are not using artificial intelligence in a meaningful way at work that makes an impact? Raise your hand if you are not. Sad. She's so sad at you. Come on now. I want to make her proud. Right? So, of course, I want to have a little fun with you, right? So, listen, man, y'all have been here before. This is me. I'm working on local. Did I get this right? Y'all? Did I spell it right? Autocorrect told me to do it this way. Thank you. I'm making an effort. Thank you. I'm going to be here a little bit, so I got to get this right. Right? So as I was learning more about Gulf Coast and what goes on, because I came from Pittsburgh, right? I've seen a lot of economic change from Pittsburgh. My family worked in a steel mill. My grandfather worked at the tin mill. My grandmother, so I know what it looks like to go through a lot of change through generations, right? And this is an opportunity for you guys to change the way you live and work. Right? So first there was the Industrial Revolution, right? Let me see if this works. Right, local shipbuilders embraced mechanization. Amid the clang of iron and steam, Mississippi shipyards transformed. Craftsmen once guided by hand, now partnered with machines, launching an era where innovation met grit and the Gulf Coast sailed into the future. There was electrification, enabled 24/7 operations. Lights blazed and machines roared as electrification powered a new Gulf Coast. Ports, refineries, and factories came alive around the clock, fueling nonstop progress and redefining what was possible day and night. The digital age, modernization with computing, keyboards replaced clipboards. As the digital age arrived, shipyards, aerospace labs, and logistic hubs embraced computing, streamlining designs, accelerating production, and transforming the Gulf Coast to a global economy. (2005) post-Korean recovery. In the wake of devastation, technology became a lifeline. Satellites guided rescue, data map damage, and digital tools rebuilt connections, sparking a recovery that didn't just restore the coast, but reimagined its future. Y'all have been here before. This is your time. And just like before, some of y'all are going to adapt and some people aren't. Some people are going to move forward and some people aren't. And I think that this symposium is a call for everybody in the community to lean in and do something about this, right? The community has to come together, and it starts by y'all taking care of your own businesses. What can you do at your business? What can your business contribute to the community, right? How can we all get there together, because there is strength in numbers. The Gulf Coast of the future will evolve by embracing AI. From smart shipyards to AI-powered hospitals, the Mississippi Gulf Coast can thrive. Machines amplify human potential. Industries run smarter, communities grow stronger, proving that when AI meets ambition, the future is built here. Now, all of those images were generated on Sora, S-O-R-A, part of the OpenAI platform. Right? I asked with this prompt to generate images that look towards your future based on economic data that was available. You can go into the very, very long detail, but this was the prompt, and this is what artificial intelligence sees in your future. Right? Now, let's quickly go through what it is and what it isn't. Right? As we said before, AI is a software program that amplifies human intelligence. Think of it as a digital assistant. It works harder, it faster, it doesn't need breaks, it can scale. Most of what we do today, again, is narrow AI or weak AI. Right? We saw those different examples, ChatGPT, UAs, fraud detection. They don't think, they do one thing really well. What AI is not is sentient. It can't think, can't feel, it can't make decisions. It only does what we tell it to do. Doesn't understand like humans do, right? It has to go through a whole transformation process to take your prompt into the computer, understand it, and give it back to a way and you're able to understand it. It doesn't have an agenda, it's not coming for your job, right? You know who's coming for your job? Somebody who knows how to use AI. That's who's coming for your job. Yeah, yes, please. Mm-hmm.
So that's some of the. Are you going to talk to that about the shortcomings of what we can expect to provide and validity of the information?
Well, yeah, that'll be something for a happy hour. I think, well, you bring up a good point. So like one of the directions I have in the chat is don't put words in it because it misspells words. Anybody see that little anomaly, and it just, I don't know why, but it's horrible at spelling. Yes, it can't be wonderful at everything. But that is one of the things, right? And because it's an output, like we're using this as a tool, we're still responsible for all this content that comes out of this stuff. It's a tool. You can't say, but the computer got it wrong. No, man, that's your job. You can use the computer to help you be smarter, go faster, do things you can't do. But that output is still your responsibility. And you have to understand what a tool can do, and very astutely, you're right, there's some things that it's gonna get wrong, but you gotta pay attention to those things. Okay? We'll chat more later if I may. Thank you. And so smart businesses use AI to free up their people for better work, right? Like I do a bunch of workshops that are all data driven. There's spreadsheets and all these notes and all this other stuff. Now I could spend forever doing a summarization of that, or I can use ChatGPT, I can use Otter, or I can use any of these other tools that help make sense of all this data so I can stay in a leadership role. And that's the thing that I'm most excited about for leaders to understand. Right? How often are you dependent upon staff and management to get you things to do in a certain time or to do it the way you want it? I don't think this is an opportunity for you as leaders to say, geez, now my staff can do more, now my managers can do more. I think it's an opportunity for you to do more. They'll come along. I like lead by example, but this is empowering. And I had a conversation with a couple gentlemen that were later in their career, and they're like, wow, all this new technology stuff, these young guys will be all over it. I disagree. I completely disagree. I think the old guys and the old gals should be all over this stuff because, as I stressed, the trick in being productive with generative AI is knowing what to say and how to say it, right? With years of experience goes wisdom. We need to know this, we need to know this, we need to know this. This has to happen first, this has to happen second, this has to happen third. And then you have to make sense of those results, right? I think the younger generation is at a disadvantage because they don't know all those types of things. So I don't want this to be something that, yeah, it's cool and the young bucks are gonna get this. This puts you back in the game, right? That this is why this is exciting. Right? They say, like there's, you have, youth and God bless them all their little old parts, right? But there's not, as we say, there's nothing like old man treachery, right? You can get in there, stuff, you can do things, right? I think it's an opportunity for us to go in and show people what we know we can do, right? This is an opportunity to refresh yourself, to invigorate your contributions to your company, and to do things you literally only dreamed of before. Smartest companies in Mississippi will not be the ones with the best tech. They'll be the ones who know how to use that tech to make their people smarter, faster, and more strategic. I'll stand by this. Now, let's talk about some myths and some truths, because these are always kind of fun. Myth, AI will take your job, make your job obsolete. No, it won't, right? It's going to make changes to your job, but I think it's going to be all changes for the good. You're not going to have to do that boring, laborious stuff. You're going to stay to the good part of your job, perhaps where your strengths are, right? Creates new opportunities. Only tech companies need AI. I disagree. Shipyards, hospitals, farms, hotels. In the top 10 alone, we saw different industries utilizing generative AI. AI is too expensive. Wrong. You get a ChatGPT member subscription for $20. For $20, you can have one of the most powerful tools I have ever worked with. I need to be an expert to benefit from AI. You do not. You just have to be curious. You have to get past perhaps any little phobias or not being confident in your ability with technology. This is the friendliest piece of technology I've worked with in a long time. I'm here to tell you, come on in, the water's fine. Now, this is why it matters, right? Businesses across your region have the opportunity to improve efficiencies, reduce costs, enhance customer experience, creating competitive advantages. And I'm telling you, ignoring AI today is like ignoring the internet, right? It's like ignoring personal computers. We can go back in time, right? It's like ignoring Henry Ford and the processes that came with that. This is a big deal, and it's happening. It's not like I'm gonna wait and see, right? If you wait and see till today, I hope now you finally see that nobody else is waiting. Everybody's moving forward. Organizations within your region are already successfully using it. So if you're not, you really need to look at why. Here's a couple key takeaways as I wrap up my remarks for this morning. And I really want to make sure that I emphasize these, and that's why I'm my key takeaway. AI's here, and it's practical. The trick is figuring out where to add it to your business and your workflow. It's not going to do everything, but if there's 7 steps in your process, it's probably going to help out with 2 or 3 of those, and that's how you start with it, right? AI amplifies, not replaces human intelligence. This makes you smarter, better, faster, right? AI is a tool for working faster. The biggest barrier is not the technology, it's the problem framing. It's trying to figure out what problem in your business do you want to address first? Because it can do a bunch of different things, but you have to direct it, right? And that's where understanding your business is important, because where I see most businesses make the mistake is they solve the wrong problem really well. And they got money, time, and pride into this really solution, but it's not impacting the thing that they needed to impact. So understanding the problems you're trying to solve is critical, right? Innovation is not a local trend. It is in your DNA, as we saw through those SOAR videos, right? Through every generation, there's been a technological change, and this one is yours, right? The risk of inaction is real, right? Trying to ignore AI in your industry will lead to your demise, because everybody else is trying to figure out how to implement it, and over time it will create differential advantage, right? If you are a premium, you will become a commodity. If you are a commodity, you will not be able to compete. It's this much of a business impact, and this is why I'm stressing it so much. You are not alone. You are not alone. You have a community here that has already embraced it. Those people who have raised their hand that says that they're leveraging it at their job, I'm sure they'll talk about it. We've identified different organizations that are doing it if you have contacts there. And the whole purpose of the Gulf Coast Business Council is to support you in your efforts, right? So GCB is here, GCBC is here. I'm here to help, right? And I'm here to support your journey, however that looks like moving forward. Inactivity is the enemy of innovation. This is what I want you to take away from. There's a lot of new ideas. I'm sure your mind's spinning, right? But you gotta do something. You gotta do something, because sitting there wondering about it is not gonna bring you any closer to your goal. So if those of you who want to take some action, we have partnered with the Executive Education Department of USM. We've got some of our colleagues here today. Thank you for supporting this effort. And over the next couple of months, we're going to have a couple different workshops that the USM has partnered with GCBC to provide discounts for all its members, to encourage you to participate in our programs, particularly teams at corporations that are looking to make a change and adopt generative AI. With that, I will thank you for your hospitality. My host, Jamie, Ben, thank you for opening remarks, Pedro, and thank you for all being so hospitable. I'm Kevin Popović, I'm the idea guy. I had a great time with y'all. Thank you so much. Yes. thank you for your well thought out question. So if I'm hearing you right, you want to know how do you get started, yep? So I'm a big mindset guy. I'll tell you. I think one of the things you have to first do is you got to suspend judgment. That's the first thing I'll tell you have to do, because you get a lot of people that are like, I don't know about this technology and them robots, and it's going to take over the world one day. Like, nobody wants to work with that, right? You got to be open to new things, and you have to be open to making some mistakes. So I think suspending judgment is the first thing you have to do in a mindset. The second thing, I think you have to challenge the knowledge that you have, because with generative AI, like, it knows way more than you do, right? And some people start getting intimidated, like, oh, it's not going to tell me. No, it does. It knows way more than you do, right? So you have to be willing to increase your knowledge or challenge the knowledge that you have already. The third thing I'll suggest you have to do is you have to increase your observation. You have to pay attention to things that you haven't paid before, and you have to experiment with some of these different tools. And the last thing I have to do is you have to try to be a little more creative than you've been. So those are the tips that I would give you around mindset that will prepare you better to explore ChatGPT. The last plug I'll give, and I get no kickback from this, but if I had to go anywhere, you want to start with ChatGPT on that $20 a month subscription, because you get everything that comes with it. You get DALL-E for pictures, you get Sora for video, and for God's sake, click on that little thing that says Explore GPTs that nobody ever clicks on. There's like 100 little tools. That's like buying the toolbox and saying you had a screwdriver, hammer, and some pliers on the top, but you never lift it up to see you got a 100-piece ratchet underneath it. Okay, so explore the GPTs. Yes, sir. Mm-hmm.
What kind of privacy regulations, data protection safeguards, or
Great question, thank you. So the basis of like ChatGPT and LLM, right? It's a learning module. So it learns from the data that we give it, right? It does a trick. 1,000 people ask it the same thing, and it starts averaging the data that says most likely the answer is this, right? So when you use ChatGPT, kind of like in your browser history, right? That goes somewhere. So Chat knows you asked it this and you asked it that. So be mindful about what you're asking it. I've had some people do some funny things on what it asked it, but that data goes into all of the data around that. So first of all, your data is not safe. Now I don't want you to get like too weird about it. Just knowing that it's not like your browser history, and they can directly associate a search to your browser. But your information goes to everybody else's around it into a giant pool, and that's how it learns. So the things that companies are doing, sometimes companies are just saying, hey, we'll create a workspace. And that's a type of environment in ChatGPT. You'd use your work email, like you would log into like SharePoint or a Google Drive, and it's got some barrier, and it's just work's done in a workspace. You have other people, like I have a client in Pennsylvania, it's a dental insurance company, they have their own. And because patient privacy is of such a concern to them that they've just built their own. Now, how does their thing compare to ChatGPT? About like that. But they don't have any issue, and all of their people can use it. The nice thing on there is all of their policy guidelines and all their internal data is available in that ChatGPT, their version of it, which makes it much more productive than it could be. So be mindful of the privacy and the information that you put in there. It is not private. Right? It is not private, but it's not the same as your browser history. And if it's that big of a deal, you have to create an environment, whether it's like a ChatGPT workspace or create your own, which is not too cost prohibitive any longer. I hope that answered your question. Any other questions? Jane, you have a question?
No, but Kevin will be available, I think, just immediately after this if you want to
sure
catch
will.
him. Yep.
Thanks, sir.
The show must go on.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, everybody.
So before I get started, I was given a note that the Mississippi Gulf Coast Community College golf team is competing for a national championship as we speak. It happens to be their third. So we don't want to leave anybody out. We've got incredible community colleges, as we all know. We want to celebrate them. So I'm going to, for the next 20 minutes or less, I hope, talk about the coast economy, but in the context of comparing us with what the rest of the state looks like and looking at a few other regions in the Northern Gulf. I think perspective is important, but let's start first with the purpose here of the Gulf Coast Business Council. So the Gulf Coast Business Council's purpose is to champion common economic and business interests for Hancock, Harrison, and Jackson counties by identifying issues, convening resources, and framing public policy and finding solutions for coastal Mississippi. So let's start with the state of Mississippi. If you've been around paying attention for the last few years, since 2020 to 2024, the state has really been on an economic development roll. Over $32 billion in private capital investment, over 22,000 in jobs. Thank you, our leadership in Jackson, the Mississippi Development Authority. But what's become apparent is that Mississippi has become a place where large companies want to invest. And if you look at this map, don't get too focused on the circles. We've had really large announcements in Madison County and one more recently, Compass and Meridian. The point is that Mississippi is doing really well from an economic development standpoint. Let's talk about gross domestic product. It was just announced by the U.S. Bureau of Economic Analysis that Mississippi ranked number 2 in the nation for gross domestic product growth in 2024. Now, even adjusted with inflation, that's a 4.2% increase, or over $1 billion from 2023 to 2024. Mississippi is winning in a lot of ways, but probably the most impactful thing I think that we've seen recently, let me mention this first, Accelerate Mississippi. This is in 2021, I believe, the legislature finally passed the state to authorize a department focused on workforce development. For decades, we've been doing workforce development. It's been scattered around different agencies and different organizations. But we consolidated that all under Accelerate Mississippi. And as recently as this year, our workforce development program ranked 3rd among our southeastern competitive states. And so we went from 4 to 3. Mississippi is doing all the right things, and it's showing up in our workforce development, in our economic development. But here's the number I really wanted to show you. In the cumulative state National Assessment for Educational Progress rankings, Mississippi's raw scores place Mississippi now 29 in the nation. And when adjusted for demographics, Mississippi ranked number 1 in 4th grade reading, 4th grade math, and 8th grade math, and 4th and 8th grade reading. Now that is something to clap about. I put this in there just because I love it, because I've had to listen to people all over the country, and if you grew up in Mississippi, you've heard this too. Mississippi's 49th or 50th. 4th graders in Mississippi now read nearly a full year ahead of students in New York City. But the question is why? How did we arrive at this? Did this just happen overnight? The answer is no. This was a result of some very intentional public policy, some very intentional investments, tax reform. Probably a decade ago or longer, our state got really serious about its future, and the results are starting to show. But it always starts and ends with people. And so for the next few slides, we're going to talk about where the people are in Mississippi and how it compares to the coast. But before I do that, I just want to say that the people in this room, we're going to recognize some of our superintendents a little bit later. But many of the people in this room, and I saw a handful of our legislators, I saw Secretary Michael Watson here. The people in this room, in this region of the state, drive as much of public policy and influence public policy as anywhere else in the state. If we could get the people in this room around an idea and a focus about how we want to move forward, I'm convinced no one could stop us. But we need to look at the landscape and kind of see where we are. So let's just start with population. So these slides will look over about a decade, 2011 to 2023. If you look at Mississippi, we're still losing people slightly, although it's gotten better. As a state, we lost about a little over 1% of our population. But if you look at the coast over that same time period, we gained over 8%. So as a coast population, we are growing. Now let's look at a few regions of the state. Now I just chose these regions because I think this is kind of where a lot of the economic activity and population growth is occurring. So we took the northern DeSoto County Marshall, we took the central, which to include Madison, Rankin, and Hinds, Forest, Lamar, and then also our coastal counties. So if you look at this population is actually a reflection of growth in 2022, not March of 25. The fastest growing county in our state is DeSoto County. They are coming out of Shelby County and out of Memphis and moving into DeSoto County at a faster rate than anywhere else. But Harrison County was the second fastest growing county. So we are growing. Each of our local coastal counties is growing in population. So what do you need if you're going to have a business, if you're going to have employment? You got to have people. And so if you look at the civilian labor force by county again, and this is as of April, you'll see that DeSoto County is at 99,000 civilian labor force. They soon will eclipse Hinds County as having the most civilian labor force in our state. Now we're still doing really well. If you look at Hancock, Harrison, Jackson, we still are just under 200,000, around 188,000 cumulatively or collectively. But if you want to know where jobs and business are going, they're going where the people are, where the workforce is. Let's look at unemployment rate. Again, Mississippi is at an all-time low in terms of unemployment rate, and the Gulf Coast is also at record lows. Rankin County, Madison County being at under 3%, but collectively across the lower coast counties, Hancock at 2.9, and then Harrison and Jackson at 3.3. So those numbers all look really good. People are coming here, unemployment's low, we've got a good civilian workforce. But let's look at that same population growth to some of our neighbors to the east. So if you look from 2011 to 2024, immediately to our east, Mobile had a slight loss, about 4% in population. But if you look a little further east in the Panhandle, Pensacola had almost a 20% or 18% gain in population. There's something there in that Panhandle that people are attracted to and they're moving for. Let's talk about employment. In fact, Governor Reeves just yesterday sent out a press release. Mississippi reached its all-time high employment with 1,202,000. That's non-farm jobs. More people are working in Mississippi now than they have been in our history. And when you compare that to what it looks like on the coast, the state employment grew over that period about 9%, and we were right at 9%. So we're tracking along with that really well. Let's look quickly at housing, because people have to have a place to live. Median earnings. Look at the earnings growth over that same period of time. The Gulf Coast at 33%, Jackson to our north at 40%, and Mobile at 40%, and Pensacola at 32%. So that looks pretty similar. And then housing. If you look at Mississippi and the Gulf Coast, that housing percentage has increased at the same percent. If you want to buy a house, the median listing price in the Gulf Coast right now is around $300,000, about $294,000. If you wanted to move to Pensacola, that house is going to cost you on average $360,000, $367,000. So we're still affordable. I won't call us cheap, but we are affordable. This is the part where I think the mayors and councilmen like this part or they don't like this part. It depends how the numbers show up, right? But it is a way of tracking economic activity, commerce. How are people spending money in our cities? And I'm happy to report, again, we're comparing this to other regions. So if you look again at the north, to include DeSoto and Marshall County, they are growing at a faster clip in terms of increases in sales tax than the rest of the state, 6.15%. Now this is year to date, so our fiscal year, we've got 2 more months to end this fiscal year. But year to date, compared this year to the previous year, they've grown 6%. Now we've grown a modest 0.4%. And I will say that we're at all-time high. Post-pandemic, sales tax collections on the Gulf Coast reached an all-time high, and we've not slipped from that. Although if you look at individually at February and March, there was some slippage in terms of what the collections look like. And as a state, we're slightly better than what the state collected. But again, DeSoto County is pacing pretty quickly. So let's look individually at the cities in our lower three counties, and we'll start with Hancock. Now, the size of these circles indicate the size of that sales tax collection. So a larger circle means larger collections are taking place there. So I don't want you just to focus on the percentage, but look at the actual size of the circle. So Waveland generally collects the most in sales tax in Hancock County. They're right at $2.7 million now, slightly up. Bay St. Louis also slightly up. Diamond Head has seen a slight decrease, or not more than a slight decrease. Now this is year to date. They've still got 2 months before the final collections will be done. Let's move to Harrison County. Now you see Gulfport, that's a pretty large circle. That in comparison to the other sales tax collections from cities in the county, they're second largest city in the state. So you would expect them to have a large collection, and they do. Gulfport year to date is slightly off. Not by, just not even 1%. D'Iberville slightly off, but Biloxi, Long Beach, D'Iberville off, Gulfport slightly down, Long Beach slightly down, just a few thousand, Pass Christian and Biloxi up. Jackson County's doing really well. If you're in Jackson County, you ought to give yourself a hand. All their sales tax collections from city to city are up 2%, 3%, 2%. People are spending money in Jackson County, or continuing to spend money in Jackson County, at least in those cities that are collecting that tax. That's another positive. Let's look at tourism and gaming. You can't talk about the Gulf Coast economy without talking about tourism. Tourism, another really strong performance. I didn't do a comparison of what it looked like last year, but this year we had the latest economic impact report at Coast Tourism had a $3.37 billion impact, generating $400 million in state and local taxes. Now this represents 29% of the statewide visitor spend and 35% of the tax revenue generated statewide. So Judy Young, your team, thank you for what you're doing. Please give them a hand. Now I want to tie one little note here, because in 2012, there was an initiative from the Gulf Coast Business Council to merge the three counties into a regional tourism commission. And there was a lot of push and pull with that. We eventually got it to happen. But I think without question, the initiative that the Business Council took at the time to create that regional tourism board are showing up now clearly in the numbers that we are an attractive place. People want to come here and spend their money. Gaming also, you can't talk about tourism without talking about gaming. If you look back pre-pandemic in 2019, we were the casino gross gaming revenues for the Gulf Coast properties was about $1.3 billion, I'm sorry. We had obviously during the pandemic, we stepped down and then quickly got to a $1.6 billion industry in the Gulf Coast. Now the most recent numbers are about $20 million, have leveled off slightly. That's still $260 million above where we were pre-pandemic. Our gaming industry is healthy. We continue to see visitors come and spend money at these properties. Now this is the most important part of this presentation. So if you've not been listening until now, please perk up one last time here. Regional competitiveness. Now I've shared with you a bunch of numbers. The state's doing well, economic development's doing well, our education system's doing incredibly well. But how are we competitive with our neighbors around the country? Let's start with gross domestic product. And again, I'm going to compare the coast to Jackson and also our neighbors to the east. So we had a sizable increase in gross domestic product, 10%, over $1 billion in growth over that roughly 10-year period. Our neighbors to the north in Jackson also did very well, 14% increase over that same period of time, $3 billion. But as you go further east and look into Mobile, who had a 20% increase, and then into Pensacola, who had almost a 35% increase in their GDP, the numbers start to double and triple what we're doing here. So let's talk about what our economy looks like. If you wanted to dissect kind of what our employment, in terms of the economy, what our employment looks like, where are most of our employees? So as you would expect, because tourism's heavy, accommodations and food services represents about 18% of the employment in coastal Mississippi as defined by the MSA. Manufacturing, I would say, is still a very bright spot for us. We are great at manufacturing, and we pay a very good wage for those manufacturers, almost $80,000. That's the highest of any region in the state. I think Jackson County leads that at right around, when all said and done, about $80,000. So Jackson County has about 14,000 of those 18 jobs. But if you're in manufacturing, you've got a workforce here, and we pay them well. Now this chart, I understand it's a lot to look at, but it's an important chart, so stay with me. So if you look at the red line and you look at the circles represent the annual salary size for that industry occupation. And if it's above the red line, it shows the growth that we've had in that occupation industry sector over the last 5 years. So you'll notice the yellow accommodations and food services, let's just call those tourism jobs. We've had a 1,600 job growth of 1,600 in that sector. Again, I think that's a direct reflection of the success we're having in tourism. And it's not just happening in Harrison County, it's happening in Hancock and Jackson County. Now you may say, well, Jamie, those jobs aren't the high paying jobs. We may not be targeting those jobs, but that is a reflection of how well we're doing and competing with other markets throughout the region. So I don't see that as a negative. Now, here's a few circles that are below the red line that we do need to pay attention to. Professional, scientific, and technical, the light blue circle. Think of those as STEM related. We lost over 600 of those jobs in the last 5 years. Also, when you look at construction, about 500 jobs. Utilities, which is the highest average wage at about $120,000, is somewhat steady, but we lost a few jobs there. Manufacturing, when you've got almost 19,000 jobs in manufacturing, minus 44 doesn't, to me, alarm me. I mean, there's a lot of just shift within that big number. But we do need to pay attention to that professional, scientific, and technical area. Now, there's many things happening in that, and we've talked about it today. We've talked about what the Gulf Coast Community College is doing. We've got USM's Ocean Enterprise, where they're teaching oceanography and science. MSU partnered with Jackson County just recently and broke ground on a aquaculture research facility. I think our professionals know that we need to lean into this category, and I think we are. But we need to continue to focus here because these jobs, one, are STEM related, two, they're higher paying jobs, and we don't need to be caught flat-footed in any way. So what progress are we making? I talked earlier about the initiative the Business Council had maybe a decade ago that saw the value of combining our county efforts into a regional tourism. I think I've shown you by job increases and also and just the numbers of tourism, but that decision was the right decision. I think we can all agree on that. The Business Council also has researched Deepwater oil spill. We were heavy involved in the legislation that led to the Gulf Coast Restoration Fund. And I think the Business Council is leading two efforts now that we've just started that will also lead to gains in our region. Startup Gulf Coast, create, launch, accelerate. This is a new partnership we have with Innovate Mississippi to identify, attract early stage tech startups, individuals, small companies. This was a recommendation from our master's class from 2024 that has come to fruition. We're just getting started with this. It's a mini accelerator program, if you're familiar with that, not an incubator program, but we'll host a pitch competition. Those tech startups will then go on to a statewide competition. Similar to what USM's Gulf Blue Navigator is doing in the blue tech economy, we want to do that with other tech companies, and we want to partner with the Business Council members to do that. And perhaps this is even bigger, Defense Community Support Program. Everybody in this room knows the significance of our defense contracting and military installations and federal installations to include Stennis Space Center. There's been 3 recent publications that have been a guide for us as we move forward. One, the Mississippi Defense Economy Strategy Plan, The Future Fight, Economic Development Guide for Military-Based Communities, and South Mississippi Defense Strategy and Mission Attraction Study. Over the next 6 months, we're going to stand up a Defense and Military Affairs Council. That is going to be a regional focused group that is not only going to look toward the future and what happens at Stennis, what happens at Keesler, what happens at the Navy base, what happens in defense contracting. The future is uncertain, and if you read the paper, you know that this is true. We have to take this into our own hands. We can't wait for somebody else to solve this. So these are the 2 initiatives that we're leaning into, and we'll talk more about it, and we'll be asking for your assistance as we move forward. If you were looking at a basket of really shiny diamonds and gems, this is probably the shiniest one. The Mississippi Cyber Initiative and the legislature's commitment to funding this project at Keesler Air Force Base is potentially a game changer. They will start construction here soon on the Mississippi Cyber Center at Keesler Air Force Base. It will be a collaborative effort among public and private sector. If you're familiar with Keesler, they train the Air Force cyber airmen in cyber. The reason I've got the Cyber Center of Excellence at Fort Gordon is our current master's class, which many of them are in here today, will take a trip to Fort Gordon in July. We're going to visit with those organizations and how they stood up the Cyber Command and the Center of Excellence for the Army in Georgia. This is going to be a focus that we need to pay attention to for the next couple of years. It's an incredible bright spot. It took a lot of effort to get us here, and there'll be more to come on this as we move forward. I want to leave you with one quote. I just recently read something that Bill Cork, our state lead economic developer, wrote, and I thought it was appropriate today. It's an exciting time to be doing economic development in Mississippi. We're not just seeing growth, we're seeing the kind of record-breaking momentum that only happens when people get aligned, work a plan, and follow through. If I could leave you with anything about what I've talked about is we need to stay aligned, we need to work a plan, and we need to follow through. Thank you.
Thank you, Jamie. Great presentation, great program so far. I'm Jonathan Jones, Chairman of the Business Council. We're getting down to the finish line here. I'll do my best to keep us on track. But I do want to say it's an honor to be in this role, to serve in this role. Business Council is a great organization with a great staff, small but mighty. Great list of initiatives that you saw here. Great members, great board, and a distinguished list of past chairs. And when Carrie Wilkinson from Ingalls called me to talk about passing the torch, her main selling point, not that she needed one, was that Jamie is such a very capable leader. He's doing a great job leading the organization, and we're in capable hands, and I couldn't agree more. So if y'all would, let me recognize Jamie for his leadership. And all the hard work that went into putting on today. Jamie talked about, we got a lot to be proud of, but we've still got a lot of work to do. And so just 2 themes from today that come to my mind. The first one is, we're not going to get where we're going if we're looking in the rearview mirror. We really don't need to be dwelling on the past. I think we need to focus on the future. I'm not talking about when robots take over the world, Kevin, but rather just pay attention to what's in front of us and continue to innovate and be creative. And then the second one is, this is a region, and we need to act like a region. Everyone else in the rest of the state and the rest of the country thinks of us as the Gulf Coast. And so if there's something going on that, is meant to benefit one county to the detriment of another, or one city to the harm of another, an industry over another, or even a business over another, those are probably not the right things for us to be doing, which is a pretty good segue into the last section, which is the Rising Tide Awards. But before I get to that, I do also want to recognize the staff here at the Beau Rivage. They're not in the room right now. They're probably in the prep kitchen. So if y'all want to clap really loudly for those folks. Jamie showed some stats. He went through them pretty quick about the hospitality industry. It's a big part of the workforce down here. I'm really fortunate to get to work with a bunch of great folks over at Harrah's, a bunch of first-round draft picks, many of whom are sitting at the table here. But our industry proudly welcomes guests from all over the country and all over the world, frankly, and works really, really hard to do that and to make you all proud as folks that live here. So thanks to the folks from the Beau Rivage for hosting us today. I think I was allotted 5 minutes, so anybody who took the under on that, you can go down to the sports book and cash those tickets. You're welcome for that. And I'll turn it back over to Jamie to present the Rising Tide Awards. Thank you all.
I'd like to ask Pedro Sherry, do you mind coming up, sir? You don't get the award yet, but we want you to help us. We've all heard the aphorism, "A rising tide lifts all boats." Growing up on the Gulf Coast, many of us have experienced this truth literally. It's also true in the abstract. Good public policy should benefit all of our citizens. Likewise, private sector investments that create jobs, raise wages, and generate revenue is vital to improving the quality of life for everyone. It is with this in mind that the Business Council decided to recognize someone each year from the public and private sector who has demonstrated the attributes of the rising tide. This year's private sector winner of the 2025 Rising Tide Award is Derek Bodart with Superior Optical. Superior Optical investment in coastal Mississippi and its people are a great example of what the Rising Tide Award is all about. Based in Ocean Springs, Superior Optical Lab operates one of the most technologically advanced wholesale optical laboratories in the United States. Founded in 1990 and incorporated in 1991 by Hal Walker and John Jacobs, Superior Optical is a service-disabled veteran-owned small business owned by a U.S. Navy veteran with a proud history of partnering with the U.S. Department of Veteran Affairs to provide affordable, high-quality eyewear to veterans and their families.
What really differentiates Superior comes down to three things. One, our technology. Two, our people. And three, our product. We are truly one of the most technologically advanced laboratories in the United States. And when we talk about technology, we talk about everything from when orders are coming into the lab. For example, from our ECPs, we have all the major ordering platforms. And also when we have orders coming in from the VA, we use a system called POS. And what that does is allows everything to transmit electronically into our lab and then interface with our DVI lab management software. From there, everything is processed seamlessly into the lab. So from a technology standpoint, we really are proud of what we have here. And it really allows us to operate a very well-run, efficient optical laboratory.
Superior Optical was started back in 1991 and is located here at Sunplex on the beautiful Gulf Coast of Ocean Springs, Mississippi. We've been making eyeglasses for the VA hospitals across the United States for about 20 years now. We take a lot of pride in what we do, and with our recent expansion of over 45,000 square feet and the purchase of our new equipment, it enables us to get a good turnaround time and a good quality product to our nation heroes, which are the veterans across the United States and the VA hospitals.
What I like most about working with ECPs is the relationships I get to build. They're not only friendships, but we get to work with each other and we help give people sight. Superior Optical has been growing over the years, and as we've grown, our product catalog has grown too. We're now carrying Verilux, Hoya, Shamir, and all the name brands of anti-reflective coatings. Superior ensures that every one of our customers are satisfied with their product because we like to do a lot of follow-up and face-to-face visits. We want to make sure that you're getting a good quality product at a competitive price.
I've been in this industry for around 30 years, and I think the biggest difference between other optical labs and this one is the investment that the owners have made in the people. And recognizing that South Mississippi isn't a hotbed for optical labs, the owners have the foresight to create a training environment. We have a training room, we have a trainer to be able to train our folks to be able to do the job that we need them to do.
Thanks for watching.
And goodbye for now from all of us at Superior Optical.
Derek Bodart is a veteran of the United States Navy, where he served for a total of 8 years and was recognized with a Southwest Asia Medal and National Defense Medal for serving in a wartime theater. He's a graduate of the University of Illinois and University of South Florida, where he earned a BS in Finance and an MBA, respectively. As a service-disabled veteran, Derek's primary focus at Superior is ensuring that his fellow veterans receive quality eyeglasses in a timely manner.
Thank you very much, Jamie. Unfortunately, my attention span's about 2 seconds long, so I have some notes and everything I'm going to do. But anyway, you said it best earlier. You got to have a team to make it, to go further. Not just fast, but further. So those folks right there, I want you to give applause to them. Without them, we wouldn't have this. So thanks, guys. It's them and our other 200 employees that make it possible to do that. So I'm forever grateful, but it is an honor to be up here and do this and everything and get this award. When I arrived here about 8 years ago, first couple of years we were very, very blessed to triple business, and that got us on our way right there. Then we kind of leveled off, and it gives us an opportunity to buy more machinery, expand the building, and get more capacity, basically is what we're trying to do there. So now we're talking about growth in Jackson County and Ocean Springs. We're about to probably triple it again. So we're fortunate enough that we're going to have some good dealings with the VA, and over the next couple of years we should have about half the United States going right here to where we're at today. So that's awesome, and it's very, very great way that's all going so far. We got to, you diversify your portfolio a little bit. So we got other things going on besides the VA. We got a couple of things going on with a couple big box stores, and so the future's bright. You got to wear shades, and hopefully they're prescription. So, but the team and everything, but the state and local government has really been helping out. They've been so supportive and everything. They're part of the team now, and you just couldn't do it without all those people. So I just thank everybody. The folks have been so inviting when I got here about 8 years ago, and I'm very, very glad to call this place my home. So thank you.
It's now my honor to announce the winner of the public official selected to receive the 2025 Rising Tide Award. This year's winner is not an individual, but a collection of public officials who embody the attributes of the rising tide. The 2025 Rising Tide Award goes to the 11 superintendents of our public schools in Hancock, Harrison, and Jackson County. Now, we're going to do this like graduation, right? We're going to announce the names individually, but wait to hold your applause until they're all announced, and then we'll have a table stand up and cheer for the first one. Okay, Marcus Boudreau, Biloxi Public Schools Superintendent. Billy Elsie, Goche Pascagoula Public Schools Superintendent. Glenn East, Gulfport Public Schools Superintendent. Rhett Ladner, Hancock County Public Schools Superintendent. William Bentz, Harrison County Public Schools Superintendent. David Baggett, Jackson County Public Schools Superintendent. I think some of us had graduation today. He may have been a casualty of his own graduation. Dr. Talia Locke, Long Beach Public Schools Superintendent. Dr. Oswego Harper, Moss Point Public Schools Superintendent. Michael Lindsay, Ocean Springs Public Schools Superintendent. Dr. Carla Evers, Pass Christian Public Schools Superintendent. We talked a little bit about education and the success the state's having. The public schools on the Gulf Coast lead the state in almost every category. If you live and work here, you can confidently send your kids to public schools, which is a huge advantage. We can't recognize a more important group of individuals that impact our communities. Please give them one more round of applause. Yeah, please stand. This is the only part we can't practice. Turn this thing on one last time. We hope y'all will put those proudly in your office as a reminder of how the business community supports and appreciates what you do. It's 9:58. You're welcome. Thank you all again for supporting this event. You can go ahead and clap. Why not? It does take a lot to pull this off. We can't do it without you, but I do want to recognize our staff one time. Ben Hunter, who you've probably communicated with, Joyce Hart. And we've recently almost doubled our staff. We hired Alexa Cottrere as our strategic director of new initiatives in marketing, so I hope we'll get to introduce her to you soon. And with that, we're adjourned for the 7th Annual State of the Coast Symposium. Thank you.